All right, boys. Round 23 coming up. We got 10 games, 2 days. This is Red Card Radio. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever you're listening from. Thanks for tuning in. This is our weekly preview of the upcoming slate of Premier League matches. My name is James. I support Arsenal. That's Brad. He supports Chelsea. Down below, that's Sean. He supports Tottenham. Boys, how are we doing? Are you guys looking forward to some football this weekend?
I thought this was the FA Cup weekend, bro. I didn't know this was a match week.
No, Brad. There's a match for you this weekend.
No, I don't know what you're talking about, bro. It's a bye week. It's a bye week.
Actually, I hadn't thought about this, but the match that Chelsea play have big implications for certain positional battles that are going on right now. So we will get into that. If you're new here, if you just stumbled across us, first, thank you very much for clicking on this video, on this podcast, wherever you're listening from. We really do appreciate it. If you could hit it with the subscribe button on YouTube, ring the sub notification bell so you're alerted to all of our new releases. If you're on one of the podcast sites, hit it with a follow, 5-star review. Comments are available on Spotify, and we do appreciate them. We read them when they come in. And if you could listen to the end, maybe drop a comment, maybe hit the share button. All those things really do help us out and help us with the algorithm, which everyone's fighting against. All right, Saturday, the late game, the 12:30 match. Maybe it's in 4K, depending on your TV provider. It's Chelsea making a trip up to Manchester proper, to the city of Manchester Stadium, now known as the Etihad. It's Chelsea versus Manchester City. Brad, how many goals is Nicholas Jackson going to score? And tell me why Chelsea are going to win the match.
He gets 1.
Oh, wow.
Cole Palmer gets 2. We win 1-3.
Who? Which defenders are playing for Chelsea? That's a better question.
Colwill and Chalobah.
Is he back to being like first choice?
Bruh, he came right in and started. We didn't talk about that. He started against Wolves, should have had a goal, but Madueke stole the goal from him. Was player of the match, his first match back with he's back home with his club.
James, did you not see this? That there's a breakdown of the celebration, and Chalobah says, "You stole my goal," and Madueke says, "I know. That's what they pay me to do."
Oh, that's perfect. That's a good response.
Yeah, like I get paid off of goals, dude. You don't. Like I gotta score them.
That's a good response. Yeah, that's very funny.
Chalobah's not mad, so I'm not trying to create division. It was a funny moment.
How many more years is Chalobah under contract at Chelsea?
Well, they re-signed him to a 6-year deal like a year athat
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah,
wasn't there some skullduggery going on with Chalobah? Because wasn't there some talk that Chelsea?
No,
correct me if I'm wrong here, but so he went on loan to Palace, recalled the loan, offered to sell him to Palace for 40 million. Palace is unwilling to meet that valuation, and Chelsea's like, well, we want to sign Guehi, so let's come to some sort of arrangement. Am I reading this right? Have I made this up? I saw this on Twitter.
You jumped ahead a bit. So okay. Let's bring it all the way back to the summertime when Chalobah was barred from first team facilities at Cobham.
Well, that's because they didn't have enough lockers for half the people who showed up.
No, they're trying to sell him and he wouldn't go because he just signed a contract, so why would he go? Then they loaned him to Palace as part of we were trying to get Guehi back. And so we're like, hey, look, we'll give you Chalobah. Give us a deal on Guehi. And then that didn't happen. So we're like, all right, bet. Then we'll just take Chalobah back. Screw you. Then he pops right into the starting lineup. Should have had a banger goal. But had a great defensive performance. Very calm on the ball. Just like he normally has been since Tommy T was here. So Like I'm happy to see him back, and I hope he stays.
Yeah, that's weird. I hope he goes just for his own like I don't like pride. Like it seems like Chelsea have done him dirty, and it seems like they will continue to do him dirty.
No, that's no. I need Chalobah to stay so we can get rid of the disaster class and Badashiel.
Well, that's still going to happen. Like Chelsea need to upgrade at center back pretty desperately, just regardless. But I hope for his own sake that he's kind of like, nah, I'm tired of being used by Chelsea. But at the same time, get your money, bro.
Yeah, I mean, this felt as bringing him back feels like a hey, let's help each other. So if you do want to move to another European superpower, come in and ball out.
I feel like this has zero to do with Chalobah because he was playing very
100%.
very well at Crystal Palace. He was playing every week. He was scoring goals. He would 100%. He would have had no problem. This was 100% Chelsea. Our center backs that we apparently put our trust in the summer suck, and you're better than them. So we own your rights. So come back and play football for us. Are you at all concerned that Manchester City may have turned a corner because they beat Ipswich 6-0?
So remember how we've kept saying this about City? I mean, they haven't lost in 5 finally. But like it's kind of been their theme of like they've been on a bit of a roller coaster where they'll put it together for one match and the next match you don't know what you're getting.
I've been reliably informed from the mainstream media that Phil Foden is back to being the best English player since Wayne Rooney.
Well, that's wrong because that's Cole Palmer. But
Phil Foden, he's a prodigious talent. Just wait till he grows up a little bit, and that's what the BBC's been saying. I'm just saying.
Brad, they don't praise English football players that play in London. Only foreign players that play in London.
That's true.
Unless you're German.
Unless you're German, but that's just fun.
Only foreign players get praised in London.
German players do not get praised.
Unless you're a German player.
Oh, I see what you're saying. No Harry Kane, no Lampard, no love for Lampard, no love for Saka.
I think you're overstating that a little bit. I think
Bitter Betty came out right there.
I think Harry Kane got a lot of love from the English media, and more importantly, I think Harry Kane got a lot of love from PGMOL, which is arguably more important than the English media.
But you head up north, you got your Rooney, you got your Foden, you got your Stevie G. You play up north and you're English, they love you up there.
I don't know. This is going to be an interesting summer question, but like I feel like Frank Lampard gets remembered better universally across English football than Steven Gerrard does.
Oh yeah, the slip that ruined his career.
Not even that, but just like the number of things Frank Lampard won with Chelsea far eclipse what Gerrard won at Liverpool. In terms of raw numbers. And I think he scored more goals. He was obviously like the flashier player of the two because he was more attacking, right? Like you look at Stevie G, he was box to box.
I think
Jimmy don't come on here swinging at you.
I'm not saying that
stuff.
I'm not saying that I remember Frank Lampard better than Steven Gerrard. I'm just saying that I think at this point where we are, history remembers Frank Lampard more fondly. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying I agree with that. I'm just saying that's my perception. So, go, Sean.
I think it's subconscious. Now, I did not fully formulate this. I just kind of made it up. But the more I think it out, it's not wrong. Like subconsciously, you say best English center backs in the Premier League. Rio, Terry. Yeah, you know what I mean. Like,
guys, not these both
Rio's
terrible
right up.
people.
But like, can you definitively say that Rio was that much better of a center back than John Terry?
No, he's not. John Terry's the best center back.
But you ask best English center backs in the Premier League. Rio's first out, and then they say, "Oh, Terry." It's like a subconscious thing, and it's a London anti-London bias.
I see what you're saying. Yeah. That the first thought is to the Manchester player, to the Liverpool player, before the Chelsea or before the Arsenal, or before the Tottenham player.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe it's possible. It's possible. I don't know. I think Sol Campbell had both of them, but it's just a personal opinion. He had a great TV commercial the other day, by the way. I don't know if you saw it, Sean. You should check out his Pixel 9 commercial.
I'll see if I can ask Jeeves. So Phil Foden is back, huh?
That's what people keep telling me, that he is. He's back. He keeps scoring garbage time goals, and people keep telling me he's back. So I guess we'll see. Well, I guess we will see. I think this actually is going to be a really good game. This is 5th versus 4th. Whoever wins the game will take over 4th position, essentially, or retain 4th position. I want to give the slight edge to City. Just in my mind, I want to give the slight edge to City because I feel maybe City's still just a boogeyman in my head, and that's what I'm thinking about, is the boogeyman that is City. But for some reason, I feel like Chelsea will be competitive. I definitely think if you are, conscious and with a pulse and you enjoy sports, I think this will be a great game to watch. I think it will be quite exciting. Both teams, I think, will be up for it and going after it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess my biggest concern is the Chelsea defense. And Erling Haaland is invigorated after he was worried about his future. He signed that new, good contract, so he'll be safe for a while. Doesn't have to worry about his kids, and he can send a little bit of money to his mom, who might be struggling right now with these cold Norwegian winters. So,
we'll remind Brad that that the last time Tottenham went to the Etihad, we blew them out 4-0 with a back line of Ben Davies and Radu Dragic. So
yeah, that's what we're gonna do. There we go.
I just want to remind you.
We go to a Tottenham rewind.
I mean, Arsenal were winning 2-1 until what's his name? I forget which referee, if it was Michael Oliver or Paul Tierney, decided to send Trossard off for a second yellow card for time wasting, which is again something that only ever affects Arsenal. And so, whatever. I think it'll be a good game. I'm not sure. I'm not prepared to pick a winner. So I'm not gonna pick a winner yet. But you can see who I pick in our Discord. If you're interested in that. Brad,
that was really good there.
Thank you. What about this Bournemouth Forest match? We kind of teased this slightly in our review episode. If you want to, after you finish watching this video, click over to that one and kind of see the words of praise we have for both these teams. But Bournemouth Forest from the South Coast, this has the markings to be a great game, I think.
This is going to be like a barn burner. This is going to be the highest scoring game.
Oh, you think so?
Like, I do. I think this is like a 4-3, 3-2, like crazy game.
I don't get the read from that. I think that Forest will be fairly pragmatic in this match. Forest are not necessarily a team that are gonna go out and blow you away. Like they put up a lot of goals against Southampton because Southampton are garbage. They put up a lot of goals against Wolves because Wolves are also garbage. They scored 2 against Everton because Everton are garbage. But when you look against teams that are good, like they only scored 1 against Tottenham, they only scored 1 against Liverpool, and so I think this has more likely to be a more reserved Forest side, a more let me get you on the counterattack type thing that we see from Nuno, and so I anticipate Bournemouth being all over this game, being in control, but that Forest will be very resolute defensively. They'll be very stingy, and maybe try and get you on the counterattack. That's kind of how I read this game.
I think after one goal, either way, it's going to open up. The floodgates will open. And Bournemouth is known for scoring late goals.
This is true.
So Forest is going to have to get up and get after it to be able to compete for this one because Bournemouth will put the ball in the net. at some point, probably multiple times. So that's why I think it's going to be a lot more open than what you think.
Okay.
But I could see 4, 5, 6 goals in this game.
That would be incredible.
Wouldn't it? That'd be 2 great games on Saturday.
It's I think it's more likely with the playing styles of each team. It's more likely that Nottingham get a result because Bournemouth do like to press, and Nottingham seem just okay to just boot it up the field and let you have the ball. So they're not going to get in a Tottenham situation or who did Bournemouth just beat? That situation where they're getting pressed all over
Newcastle.
the field. Newcastle. They're not going to get into that situation because Forest don't need to have the ball. They'll counterattack all day. They don't need to have it. And if that's the way you want to play, where you want to press to get the ball, then okay, we'll kick it down there and you can start your offense. We don't care. So it kind of plays a little bit more into Forest's hands in that regard specifically.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah, maybe, but like Bournemouth are sneaky, bro. They've been doing it all season long. I mean, so is Forest, right? So like that, like I think this is a very even match game. I think it's a very interesting game where both teams are at now compared to where we thought they would be.
But do they have the quality to possess the ball for 55%, 60% of the game and break down someone? Did they have the
Forest?
Do they have the quality? No, Bournemouth.
Oh, absolutely. They did it to City.
Yeah.
They dominated City at home. Like, I don't know. The Arsenal game is weird because if you remember this Arsenal game, we talked about this, that Bournemouth were the better team when Saliba got sent off. That they were taking the game to Arsenal when Saliba got sent off, and they proceeded to go on and win the game. Against City, they dominated City and very fairly won the game 2-0, I think. And so when you ask me, like, do Bournemouth have the ability to possess the ball, break teams down? I absolutely think yes. Down on the left-hand side, they're really dangerous.
Yeah, we were the team that had to score the last-minute goal to get a draw from that game at the Bridge. So,
I mean, you're talking about this 2 weeks ago, or 2 games ago, or whatever it was.
Yep.
Yeah. So I think it's definitely very reasonable to think that Bournemouth are a team that can break down. Well, okay, let me also say this, though. To your point, though, Sean, Arsenal, Manchester City, they weren't playing low blocks against Bournemouth. So I guess that does give credence to your point. Neither were Tottenham. Tottenham weren't playing a low block against Bournemouth. And so
that's what I just went to. I went to that game and Bournemouth had 35% possession. So, I mean, they weren't ball heavy. They weren't possession heavy in that. So,
but I also don't think that they're a team that are afraid of having the, like. So when I think about Nottingham Forest, so much of my opinion of them is formed over who I know Nuno to be, and his style of playing football, his demeanor is that, yeah, like you said. If it doesn't look right, we're going to get rid of it. We're going to recycle, and we'll be fine. We're happy if we're set up defensively, right? Like, that's the idea with Bournemouth, and they will play it out of the back when they can. But if it looks dicey, if they're getting pressed, they're not going to take risks, and they're going to be really judicious about the way that they use the ball. And so when I think about that versus the intense style that I think Bournemouth will want to play, Bournemouth will have to break down a very resolute defensive team. And it'll be interesting to see if they can do that and how effective they are at doing that. But this definitely has the markings of being a great game. That's the early game. That's a 7:30 match. No, excuse me. That's a 10 a.m. match on Saturday. There is no 7:30 match, if I'm remembering correctly. So a bunch of games at 10 a.m., I think, is what it's looking like. Brad, I see you were trying to take a shot at Arsenal by saying, oh, so there's going to be 2 good games on Saturday, even though Arsenal go away to the Molineux on Saturday as well.
No,
I heard you. No, I heard you,
Fine.
And I'm ignoring
yes, Wolves
you.
are dominating. Wolves are going to dominate that game. Fine, yes.
Put it on the paper. I dare you.
No, I'm not going to.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right.
Hey, I mean, if you want to talk about that paper, I would love to talk about the paper. Let's talk about those points.
In due time, Brad, in due time. Sunday morning, we've got a London derby from South London. It's Crystal Palace hosting Brentford.
This is 11 versus 12.
Yeah. What are we thinking, boys?
I think it's gonna be a fun game. Palace have been playing better. They are one of the handful of teams that haven't lost in the last 5. There's no red on and they're in form. Brentford's coming off of a loss, right? To
a late minute, like a
Liverpool.
last minute loss to Liverpool at home.
Yeah.
Maybe a little disappointed about that. They played 90 minutes essentially, and were playing.
Should have won
a goalless draw. Could have won.
Yeah.
Could have won. It could have gone any way. Either way, absolutely. But it's not an unexpected result. So that's why I say maybe they feel bad, maybe they don't. It's not an unexpected result.
Yeah, I mean, you also just your goal is a point.
Sure, absolutely.
Out of that game, right? And especially as a Brentford, as like now an established Premier League side, you're looking for a point there.
Do you think they have that same approach coming into this match against Palace?
I mean, no, they want all 3 points. I think both teams want all 3 points.
I think if you look at this game on paper at the beginning of the season and you're Brentford, I think to your point, they're established in the Premier League. Thomas Frank has an identity and he wants to play a certain way, and he's not content to just accept a draw. I think he's going for a win here. So I'm not sure about Glasner. I tend to assume that Palace are just generally more passive in their... Palace seem to be the team that they get to 40 points and they just chill, right? Like historically, like Palace are like, okay, we're safe from relegation. We're cruising for the rest of the year. Now they're not there yet, obviously. So like, I'm not trying to say that they aren't hungry to win games again or yet, but it just seems to me from the outset that Brentford have maybe more of a go for it attitude. But maybe that's unfair to this Crystal Palace iteration, because I'm thinking about Crystal Palace under Roy Hodgson or something like that. And that's just, it's night and day different, which we saw at the end of last year.
I mean, yeah, they're not quite at 40 yet either. And they held Bournemouth to a draw. They held Chelsea to a draw. They just beat West Ham, which we're like, oh, that seems like a spicy game. Maybe like West Ham should get points off of that. They didn't. Yeah. And they fell even further. So like, Palace is playing better in the second half than they did in the first half. They're clearly out of the relegation, where they were deeply in that relegation battle for a while.
I think once Spurs gave them that first jolt of life early this season, I mean, I think that helped Palace with their confidence and everything going forward. So
yeah, 100%. Just like Spurs are going to do for Leicester now.
Yeah.
Watch the Leicester charge happen.
Do you think Spurs are going to give any confidence to Ruud van Nistelrooy's Leicester side this weekend?
We're just a generous bunch here. We're just basically the confidence Santa Clauses. Confidence Oprahs. You get confidence.
I know I said before we recorded any podcasts tonight, boys, that I didn't want to say this. I didn't want to talk about this. But if somehow, some way, Spurs lose to Leicester, I could see a world where Ange is not the Spurs manager on Monday.
Bro, I'm telling, yeah, like, look,
there's a starting lineup in our injury list. What do does he want him to do?
I'm just saying Daniel Levy's Daniel Levy, and there is a world where if somehow this Spurs team loses to this Leicester team, I'm just saying, I wouldn't be shocked. Be shocked.
Hold on, you know what would be the Daniel Levy thing to do here? Go ahead, Sean, first.
What it comes down to truly is the fact that the fact that Levy is a coward.
Yes, exactly. This is my point. You talked about this last week.
And Levy is going to do whatever the fans tell him to do. So, because he is a coward and he can't make his own decisions.
Listen.
So
the sponsors told him to sack Jose because Jose was upset about the Super League. The fans are up in arms about Antonio Conte, sack Conte. That's my only point, is that he's going to watch another Expressions video on YouTube talking about, what did he call him? Brisbane Bielsa. And he's going to sack.
Listen.
Yeah.
Who do you guys? I gotta look at this. What's y'all's March schedule look like? Because I'm gonna tell you when he's gonna get the funniest thing Daniel Levy could do. So he's gonna get to the Liverpool game, right, for the Carabao Cup. He is then.
You're gonna say he's gonna sack him right before the League Cup final.
That's what I'm looking at. What team that is? March 16th. When you guys lose to Bournemouth and then Fulham. Back to back.
But right before the League Cup final?
Right before the League Cup final. Cut him off. No trophies for Tottenham.
Another Ryan Mason shot at the League Cup.
Yes. He wants the Spurs legend Ryan Mason to win that cup. And you can see Sean's face getting more and more frustrated. He's like, wait, this could actually happen. Daniel Levy could do this to Spurs.
Yeah.
Especially if you guys look.
No,
we're not bring anybody in.
We're moving on. Let's talk about points, Brad. You want to talk about points?
Let's do it. I'm going to talk about points.
All right. So if you want to join our Discord, it's in the description of this video below. You can submit your picks in our Discord for who you think's going to win, who you think's going to lose in round 23. A little bit of housekeeping. We have to talk about round 21 and round 22. Today. So the big winner in round 21 was none other than Brad. He got 7 out of 10 correct. 7 out of 10. Jimmy and I are close behind with 6. Oh, excuse me. Meg also got 7. So let me back this up. Brad is tied with Meg for 7. So
good job, Meg.
It's unfortunate she's a Manchester United supporter, so that
loses
her points, just generally speaking.
Yep.
But myself and Jimmy and Jack come in tied for 3rd at 6. Sean had an off week, and Joel down there at 4. So if adroit listeners will remember that the battle for 2nd was getting quite tight between Sean and Brad. Looking forward to round 22, however, Brad, Sean, and Joel all had barn burner weekends, got 7 correct. So big weekend for them. Jimmy had 5. I had 4. Tamseed and Chap both had 3. Those were the only submissions. So if we look at the...
Hold on.
Okay, what? What I messed
up?
Can
we talk about how Tammy was the only one to pick Everton to beat Spurs?
We should mention that Joel took a draw.
Shout out to Tammy.
Joel took a draw, and but yes, they were the only. He was the only one to take Everton in this match.
Sorry, that just popped out at me. But you can go back to this overall scores. I would love to hear it.
Just as another aside, Sean and Chap were the only ones to take Bournemouth. So. Throwing that out there.
Yeah, but that's not as funny as Everton.
All right, so that leads us to the overall standings. Obviously, still in first is Jimmy and Jack because they have 2 brains, right? It's they're first. They have 115, just like Manchester City. In second is Brad at 114.
I'm coming.
Brad is right there. Sean is also in the mix of things. He's at 111. Joel and I are both at 91. So we are tied for 4th, I guess that makes us. And that rounds it out of the people who have submitted. Now, if we look, however, to the percentages correct. If we eliminate people who have only picked 1 week or something like that, interestingly enough, Meg has the highest pick percentage. She's picked 40 matches. It's close enough. Maybe that's in the sample size. I don't know. For those of us who are in the plus 150. Jimmy still has the highest pick percentage at 52.3%. Brad's not far behind at 51.8. So, anything near 50%, I think, is incredible. So, I did check those pick percentages just before we recorded this, so those should all be updated and correct. So, and at the end of the season, I'm going to publish the spreadsheet for people to see if they want to
check the maths,
check the math or anything like that. But yeah, so that's where we stand. Like I said, if you want to get in on the picking action and get your name added to the spreadsheet, it's in our Discord. Or you can put a YouTube comment. It's fine. Email us. Hit us up on Twitter. Send Brad a direct message with your picks at KSBradG. If you're a Tottenham supporter and you don't want to send them to a Chelsea supporter, send them to @Whiteheart_Sean. And Arsenal supporters, I will accept your picks at James Tiffany. Collectively at Redcard_Radio. And we look forward to hearing from you. Hope you enjoy the football this week. We will be back next week for another full round of Red Card Radio. As always, we really appreciate you listening. Thanks so much, and we will see you all next week.